Hello. Terry, do you want to help us maybe get more? There's some chairs in there. Maybe roll them out for people to sit back here. All right.
Hello, this is Hamdan from Mr. Spanis's office. We cannot see anything. Your camera is not functioning. Over.
Have you guys, who here has seen Banking on Bitcoin? Come on. Okay, there we go. Banking on Bitcoin. It is the only documentary on Netflix about Bitcoin. So if you watch that, you'll learn about the Bitcoin Center New York, which is kind of the parent company of the Bitcoin Center Miami. And we have Nick Spanos. Who here knows who Nick Spanos is? He's in the video. If you watch the video, you'll learn all about him. But he's joining in right now. But I bet you can hear me. Hey, I have an illegal computer in the United States, so my cover that. Nick, you gotta unlock your camera. We can't see you. Or you, Hamdan. He has a special message for us, you guys.
Erica, Nick wants to know if he can see the audience also. Where is the audience?
What audience? There's nobody here. Can you turn your camera? You can see my camera, but then, okay. All right, everybody, say hi.
Hello.
And then on this side, say hi, guys.
Hey, Nick.
Is that good enough? Can you unlock your camera now, please? I bet you. All right, so I feel bad. All right, in the meantime, all right, guys, Spanos is right here. Can you turn your camera on, please? Say hi, everybody. In the meantime, smile, smile, and smile. Super good. All right, Nick, I'm going to give up on you because if people are waiting, we have to just give people what they want. Okay, we're just going to wait for him, and then I'm going to get started on see if he gets connected. But in the meantime, let's get started on this presentation. So, how many of you guys went to the launch party? Amazing, thanks for coming back. And how many of you guys own Bitcoin already? All right, now how many of you guys feel like you can explain Bitcoin to like average person? Nice. Next time I'm going to call on you guys to come up here. So I'm Eryka Gemma. I am CEO of the Bitcoin Center Miami and founder of the Blockchain Center, along with Scott Spiegel back there. Say hi, Scott. And our goals here really are just to educate the people of Miami. We want Miami to be the best educated city in the world when it comes to this technology, and that comes with providing free classes for people. So first things first, we're going to do a little Bitcoin 101. I'm going to keep it probably under 10 minutes. I don't want to bore you. I feel like everybody here probably has a general knowledge of what Bitcoin is. And then we are going to do a, where are you, Francisco? Okay, so Francisco, do you want to do a little plug about what you're going to talk about really quick?
Hello, guys. I'm going to give you a little talk about what the financial institutions are doing regarding crypto. And tonight I'm like the bad guy on the crypto meetup because I'm going to talk on what the banks are doing, what the hedge funds are doing, and managing a hedge fund on crypto. So how is this influence of the big corporations like Facebook setting up Libra and so on, and what is the role of the Congress, the US Senate, and all these people who was talking last week regarding blockchain and talking a little bit deeper.
crazy week because you guys probably already know, but they spoke about Bitcoin and Libra in Congress. They said shitcoin in Congress. Crazy week. I mean, definitely getting adoption, and I will start my presentation just to show you some basic stuff about everybody that's interested, and then I'm going to teach you afterwards. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin for the first time or learning about some platforms, I'll take you into this side room, and I can show you some different ways, okay? And then after he talks, Maria is going to come up here. Where's Maria? Oh, you guys probably met her downstairs. She was doing check-in. She's going to give you a background of what we do here and how you can get involved more. We really do a lot of educational classes in different various sectors. One of the classes that we're hiring for and also trying to fill is trading. So if you want to learn how to trade, technical analysis, read charts and stuff, he knows. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin, the blockchain center, and you. Just in case you're confused, the blockchain center is the name of the building, and Bitcoin Center right now, we're the first tenants and we kind of run things here. But you're going to see over the next few months, a lot of companies, different companies from all over, from different countries move in here and have their home base in the United States here at the center. So to give you an overview of what I'm going to talk about today, we're going to do Bitcoin, the history of money, blockchain I'll touch on it, the benefits of the technology, and some news updates to segue into what Francisco will be talking about. So first things first is, how many of you guys have seen this before? Yeah? Anybody want to say what it is? Okay, so Bitcoin, it was created, money created for the internet, on the internet, by people that transact on the internet. And this is important as the world becomes increasingly global for us to have a currency that reflects how global the world is. So remember, blockchain is the reason why people are here, but Bitcoin is the reason all of this exists. It was created out of the 2008 financial crisis, and if you look into the Genesis block of the Bitcoin blockchain, it references right here, the times 2009, the second bailout of the banks, right? So it references this particular front because really, Bitcoin was created out of a need, right? You have these global financial systems that are not necessarily honest. And so it's software code that solves this problem, where we don't really have insight into what the banks are doing. So right now, student loan debt is at $1.2 trillion. The debt to GDP ratio is about 105%. Millennials are paying into a social security plan that we're never going to benefit from, and the dollar has significantly lost its purchasing power. So all the while, the public education system, how many people here were taught financial literacy in schools? Exactly. And how many people here feel like their kids, if you have children, are being taught financial literacy in schools? It's a little crazy, right? Because you've got these people that are getting, these kids that are getting credit cards mailed to them. They're 18 years old. They have no
Hey guys, speaking of Venezuela, these are 104,000 Venezuelan bolivars that were gifted to us by the president of Venezuela. No, by the people of Venezuela. The people of Venezuela gave this to us. And they told us that the devaluation of their currency was the single most catastrophic event of their lifetimes. Some of those people had survived genocide and they've been through incredible experiences. And then their currency was devalued because of the rampant hyperinflation of the government. And it was a very sad experience for everyone involved. So thank you, Eric. I commend you for bringing up that issue. And the people of Venezuela commend you also. My friend, my friend bought his apartment with this money, and now he can't even buy a piece of toilet paper. It's very sad, and it makes people very sad.
Yeah, what's interesting too is that if you were to
No one sees my face.
okay, if you were to send money to Venezuela right now, the maximum remittance fee the government would take, so the cut that the government would take.
I look so good, and no one can see me.
I'm gonna silence you, hold on. Okay, so the maximum remittance fee that the government would take is, does anybody know? Come on, guess, guys.
56%.
56%, right? 56%. We have someone, I have a friend in Venezuela, very close to home. I'm sure all of you guys know people that are affected by this crisis. And I sent him money because he had a kid, and the government would take 56%. You know, that's not fair. So I sent him Bitcoin, and he's happy. But it's important to understand that what cryptocurrencies provide is an option. So in last year, Donald Trump, he put a sanction on Turkey, on the Turkish lira. The price of the Turkish lira dropped 27% in one day, and the price of Bitcoin in that country went up to its all-time highs. So we all know people that are affected by these tragedies, but what I want everyone to know is that Bitcoin provides options, and people will pay for options.
No, I was just going to say, Iran just had sanctions, and now all of a sudden they want to go back crazy.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we don't understand so much the United States, but in other countries, they do. In Zimbabwe, the price of Bitcoin, I think you can buy it at like 100 times the price than you could buy it here. So I could literally have a business of buying Bitcoin here, flying to Zimbabwe, selling it there at 100 times the price here, because they actually need an exit, because their fiat currency is way more volatile than Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin is borderless, it's open, it's distributed, and it's censorship resistant. Censorship resistant is very important when you have places like Facebook and these Twitters of the world that have the ability to censor voices and ideas that they don't like. And so this is very powerful because nobody can censor Bitcoin. Also, too, in people are hiring. This is a new industry. There's a lot of opportunity. Blockchain developers get paid, I think, twice or maybe more the rate of regular developers. So if you want to go to Ironhack or WinCode, we'll let you know how. And A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, largest VC firm, they manage about $10 million. They just changed all of their employees from VCs to financial advisors, meaning they can take riskier bets, and they completely closed their regular VC firm, and they're
So last year, almost a year ago in September, the New York General Attorney came by with this report about integrity in the virtual markets after many companies that were trading Bitcoin in New York left. With his Bitcoin center and these guys we don't like. They are not our kind of people. Thank you. And now I will send you. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Do you hear me? Well, it's okay. I'm good? Okay. But you're not listening to me better, no? Okay. Okay, well, I feel like Julio Iglesias, but a lot cheaper. Okay, so during last year, there were too many hearings in the U.S. Senate, in the U.S. Senate, but they were not that famous as the last week because the people were talking just about Bitcoin. There were people from even from the FBI or CIA talking about Bitcoin, the Security Exchange Commission. So that was the beginning of the regulators talking about what to do. But of course, the general attorney has to come up with this because you have already working in the US from Coinbase to all these exchanges. These exchanges are operating in New York. Some of them, according to the general attorney, legally, some of them illegally. So they are moving forward, and these are the new institutions. We are not going to talk about these ones because these are the new institutions, but the traditional institutions. So these ones are the ones that are creating legislation or some rules that will apply to the banks. So this is, of course, a lobby game in Washington because the banks are feeling the heat of what they call like the MIT training. This is the fintech, yes, but now it's the tech thing coming for us. Now it's Facebook or the FANGs, Amazon, Apple, Google trying to eat the cake of the financial sector. So the Security Exchange Commission also started to giving opinions or reports regarding the situations on crypto. And the first legal action was to sue or to charge a guy like me, a hedge fund manager, with these charges. So it was the beginning of the rule of the few rules that are, but regarding former ways of talk about assets to crypto managers. What happened? When all this started, people started to buy peer-to-peer crypto assets. I buy a Bitcoin, I buy some Ethereum, this guy is mining, the other guy is doing this or that. Then come the exchanges, and there come these guys from New York, from the financial institutions that said, hey, this is a good opportunity now to develop these new tools, and there is no competitors. We are all alone. So the first thing that happens is, okay, we have the regulator that asks us for a lot of things, from the auditor to whatever they are asking us, or for a license to operate. So we are going to the over-the-counter market. So there is an over-the-counter market. The most known in the media is the Pink Sheet, the Wolf of Wall Street. Did you see the movie? Okay, the Pink Sheet market is this market where almost you almost need anything to be traded as a share. So over it, there is an over-the-counter regulated market. It's not the penny stock or shell companies or bankruptcy companies, but the trusts that are companies created to operate with lower amount of legislation or regulation over them. So there was this first guy who said, I'm going to try to do an ETF. Everybody knows what is an ETF, no?
Okay, so I'm going to try to make the figure of an ETF. As you all know, there is people trying to set up an ETF on Bitcoin or any crypto in the US since 3 years ago, and there is no way for them to set up. But these guys, Barry Silbert, that is a very well-known entrepreneur in New York, he created this tool. He's ruling Digital Currency Group. It's a very big group. It's the first, to say something, the first corporation created around the whole ecosystem of crypto. He has way different companies, but the first one was Grayscale. Grayscale developed this first tool for you to buy Bitcoin in your bank. 3 years ago, I bought Bitcoin through a bank, and later, 2 years later, they figured it out. What are you doing with this asset in your portfolio? Well, there is a QSIP number, I click and I bought it. And they didn't even knew what was that. Why? Because it was a trust trading in the over-the-counter market. So the thing is that he developed this tool, but beyond that, he is partnering with the Winklevoss brothers and Genesis Exchange. He has exchanges all around, the Bitso Mexican one I told you, Shapeshift that moved to Panama due to regulations, custodian companies that are the companies that can custody crypto assets like Sapo, that is located in Switzerland, BitGo, Ledger in France, etc. And to say boutique banks like Silvergate or Circle that are expensive banks because of the compliance that need to do to open bank accounts for hedge funds or for big firms to operate on crypto. And CoinDesk, that is also the media, well known for you all about the news on crypto, and the organized Consensus in New York, that is the most famous event, of course, besides North America Bitcoin Conference in Miami. And so they have all these different companies and they own assets. So this is the first asset that you could be buying in a market, in a public market in the US. It's called Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and you can check it on Bloomberg. It's the GBTC. And it's and by today, Grayscale also have trust with Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, Stellar, Litecoin, and Zcash, and also a basket of these assets. So these are institutional assets. These are things that a bank can buy, that a hedge fund can buy, that even yourself can buy if you convince your financial institution. Yeah, don't worry. For sure, don't worry, guys. I will go to Lisbon, but I will keep in touch and I will send you this and more. The only thing is here, if you there's a detail. If you see here, of course it's too small, but this is 26. The GBTC is 1/10 of a Bitcoin, and you remember Bitcoin went to 19,000 for a couple of sessions, but this is a premium. If you wanted to buy Bitcoin through GBTC, you should be paying $26,000 per Bitcoin while it was trading at 19,000. And if you buy it today, it's 13,000, so you are paying a premium of 30% over Bitcoin price spot if you check it on any exchange or peer-to-peer. Of course, if you want me to sell you a Bitcoin on $13,000, I will be more than glad to help you out. But as you understand, this product is not purchased by anyone unless you are a financial institution, because you're paying a premium of 30% every time you buy. So it's too difficult to trade it, too difficult to buy and get a profit on that. So that was the reason for them not to grow. They used to set up tranches for financial institutions to buy them. You have to hold it for 1 year and then you can sell it on the market. So it's not a perfect tool for buying the Bitcoins. This is the premium, and this is today. Is premium, as you said. They are as clear as publishing. This is from their own account, from their own website. From today, they publish what is the value. The holdings of Bitcoin per share is $10, and the market price is $13. So they are not lying to anyone. They are telling you clearly you are paying $13 for what is worth $10. This should be as is classified the net asset value of the fund. If you have a mutual fund at 4 p.m. Some guy will say, okay, at 4 p.m. the price of all our shares is this price. Okay, so that's the point. What is the price of your fund if Bitcoin is trading 24/7? Who cares? What is the price at 4:30 p.m.? So that is the main problem of institutional tools. You are alive 24/7, and the institutional tools have these timetables. No? Okay, so that was created in 2016. So we're just talking just 3 years ago. Next thing that happened was we have something similar to an ETF that is called ETP, Exchange Traded Products, and one subdivision is an ETN. At the end of the day, you just have to know that this is an ETF in Sweden. In Sweden, some guy developed some tool like GBTC 1 year later. He developed in Swedish crowns and in euros, so you can buy through euros or Swedish crowns Bitcoin or Ethereum through your bank, if your bank lets you buy it. If you know the bank, please give me a call. It happens the same. It has some difficulties, have high fees, but there is not such a high premium like in the case of GBTC. And this little thing here, it says market closed. That is something that you will never find when you are trading Bitcoin. The miners are doing Bitcoins every 10 minutes, and Bitcoin is trading 24/7, but the market's closed. And on Saturday and Sundays is the same. And if you are trading, is anyone trading Bitcoins for fun or for a job here? Okay, everybody knows that after the markets are closed, the movement of Bitcoin is way bigger than during market hours, during traditional market hours. So if you check out on Fridays, afternoons, Saturdays, and Sundays, there is more people trading at that time, because these are the same traders that works in their banks that are playing in their funds. So that's life, no? So these are the different details on these tools, and just to let you know that how complex is and how simple it is to buy a Bitcoin peer-to-peer, and how complexity comes when you go through legislation. To figure out the price of in euros of this tool, you have the average price of these 3 exchanges from EatBit, Bitstamp, and Coinbase. You divide by 3. You check the price ratio between euros and dollars. Then you have 2.5% of fee, and you have another a 20th of Bitcoin. This is the fair value. So when you go trading in your platform, you will look for offering a price cheaper or higher, depending on if you're buying or selling, to the fair value. And that's where the game is. It's a complete different situation that in a peer-to-peer transaction or an exchange for crypto. And again, this product is only trading from Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. So these are all the details. I will go faster for not boring you. And now we go to we were talking about public blockchains. We were talking about cryptocurrencies traded through financial traditional instruments, and now we are going to talk about some examples of private blockchains like Quorum for JP Morgan. JP Morgan developed this technology. JP Morgan was about to throw the towel at the beginning of this year on this project. Everybody knows in the crypto ecosystem what Jamie Dimon thought about the Bitcoin 2 years ago. He said it was a fraud, that Bitcoin is terrible, it's horrible, it's hell. And then meanwhile, he was developing this tool. He says that, of course, blockchain is amazing. And they develop this tool on their Ethereum. And they were trying to do something similar as Ripple or as Corda, that is trying to switch the payment rails like Swift through the creation of their own network and the creation of their own blockchain, for not saying that it's a cryptocurrency because it doesn't have the quality of it. So they have this private blockchain where they are sending money back and forward to 75 banks in 2018, and now they are over 220 banks. So the money transmission between them are faster than before. Here you have Cele in the big banks, but if you have a small bank in the US, probably you have to wire the money, you have to pay way more money. If you are in the Caribbean, as I was in Curacao, you have to pay $35 for sending money and wait 3-4 days for the money to arrive. I don't know if they send it by boat, or I don't know which is the way, because these are electronic operations. But of course, I spent the longest time, I spent 12 days for receiving money from a bank in Miami to Curacao. I don't know if there was a guy on a boat or how was the money going there, but it's simply amazing that while we have emails and WhatsApp, we need to pay $35 or $50 for making a money transfer. It's cheaper to get the money in cash, to put it on FedEx, and to send it to Curacao. It's cheaper and faster. So Quorum was this. This was the view of Quorum, and now this is the view of Quorum. They moved from fintech image to techfin image. They take it out of the website of the bank, and they are merging with Microsoft, figuring out how to link these banks to these big corporations that have big chunks of money in their financial departments and need to move money back and forward from the US to other jurisdictions, and are tired of paying that amount of money to the bank. So they are playing defensive to avoid these people to create their own money. That's the thing. And that's why Facebook is doing that. Why will I have to pay such amount of money to the bank to move back and forward this money? You just can imagine Apple moving $90 billion, $100 billion they used to have in Ireland, when Trump says, you have to bring this money back home and I help you with your taxes. Okay, how much money is JP Morgan going to charge me for moving $100 billion from Ireland to New York? Oh, this is difficult. Okay, through Bitcoin is $2, $3. This is the fee for moving $100 billion. How long it takes? 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Doesn't matter. You control it. You have your own information, etc., etc. So when these tools are available, how are you going to tell these guys in Facebook? How are you going to tell these guys in Apple that they need to go through this old-fashioned Wells Fargo thing, filling the papers and talking to lawyers and doing this and doing that for doing something that is electronic? Exactly. Well, I was setting up an EIN number, and I had to fill a form and send it through fax to the government here, and I did it also in Puerto Rico, and it was the same. No, you need to send a fax. Where I find a fax? Tell me how. I don't. I mean, we work here. tell me how I send a fax. Okay, you can send a fax email through the computer or whatever, but just the concept of a corporation using a fax is absolutely a shame. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if this is a tradition, like drinking coffee from another coffee machine, but I don't see the point. But anyway, JP Morgan developed this. They were replacing and increasing these tools, and they are moving forward. So it's not that the banks are quiet at doing nothing. They are doing a lot, and they are competing with all the different crypto assets that are available. For instance, JP Morgan said that, of course, they were creating the JPM coin. Probably according to his CEO, it's better to have JPM coins that have Bitcoins. But the thing is, these tools are only available for clients of JP Morgan. These are not cryptocurrencies. These are payment rails inside the bank. So it's like the bank says, you will be able to send money from your own account to your own account in your own bank faster. What do you mean? You have a database with a number, with the same number, so to move here to there, it's faster. What do you mean? How long it takes to move money from my own account, from one account to another? So this is what they are telling that they are doing. Of course, they are not talking only about the bank, but the 220 other banks on the network. But that is the point. And they said that they will use the JP Morgan Treasury Service business to replace the dollars they hold in subsidiaries across the world. So finally, what is the point? We have private money. You can check all these projects in GitHub. GitHub was the repository for the IT developers. That was the freedom space that was purchased by Microsoft. Of course, Microsoft will never take a look at anything in your private GitHub repository. And Ripple is more or less the same thing that what JP Morgan is doing. But you have to be careful about buying XRP and confusing XRP with Ripple, the company, and with the services Ripple does on the banks. That is for another session, but as a financial advice, read twice everything you drink, you eat, and you buy. And R3 is mostly the same. So these are the private blockchains that are being developed for the institutions. There are tools inside the banks. There are not tools for peer-to-peer people. And Fidelity is the first of the 5 big banks in the the first bank in Wall Street that is saying that they are going to be custodians of Bitcoin and probably in the coming future from other crypto assets. So this is the first bank. When you're talking the big banks, we are talking about JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Fidelity for managing trading. So this is the first one that is saying, okay, I go with you guys. I want to trade Bitcoins, and I'm not going to do my private blockchain only, but I also will be doing trading for you on any asset you want. So it's the more libertarians of the 5 big banks are these guys. And it has something to do with the people who's working. And on St. Kitts with Igor was another lady I met in Curacao called Neha Narula that is managing the MIT lab for cryptocurrencies, and she was working 2 years ago in Fidelity. And she was working with another Bitcoin developer, the guy who is responsible for the bug. No, Antonopoulos, no. The guy, the blonde guy who was there also. Huh? No, I'll let you know a bit later. But there were the people from MIT working in Fidelity. So they did their job, and now the company, the bank is doing what it should be doing. What the rest of the bank should be doing, that is receiving and sending Bitcoins and doing their job with another new financial asset. Besides what the banks were doing, there were the development of other tools that let you have exposure to the Bitcoin or to crypto assets without touching them. So what happened was that the CFTC, the Commission for Trading Futures and Contracts, is the owner, to say something, and commodities, is the one who should be regulating Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, according to different definitions, is a commodity. So what is happening in Chicago is that these guys who are managing their business related to futures are developing tools for you to have exposure to that. So if you're able to open an account and receive futures, you can buy futures of Bitcoin on Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and you have futures for July, August, September, October, and December, and you see the price here, the highs and the lows. So it's just another tool you can have, and you see the limits, the highs and the lows that are related to the prices where while this future was trading. So that's why you see 7,000 and 13,000. Those are the prices for the past months. The volumes, I'm showing you that because are almost 3-4 times the ones from. This is from the last presentation, from October 18, and we are just nine months later. So the baby has grown 4 times. And of course, there's also a story for that, and it's that the CBOE, the Chicago Bourse Option Exchange, has died in his intention to set up the same tool. That is the futures of Bitcoin. They stopped trading the contracts because they have low volume in March of this year. So you cannot take a reading only watching one of the sites. Ledger is a private platform that is in New York and is doing these tools and way more. So, and they are the first federally regulated exchange and clearinghouse to set up these tools, but back with real Bitcoins. So you can ask for your Bitcoins over there. And just as of today, we were waiting for long because that was promised for last December, but of course, regulation. The owner of New York Stock Exchange, the IC, the Intercontinental Exchange, is developing the project of BACT. And today they were testing for the first time the futures that will be trading on the New York Stock Exchange on Bitcoin. So if the owner of the New York Stock Exchange is developing tools for future trading of Bitcoin, probably there's something. I don't know why this guy is so angry with this other guy, but the thing is that now we are playing in the major leagues. Now we have the New York Yankees playing the game. This is not a small bank. This is not the 5th largest bank. This is Facebook, and all the regulators are really concerned about what is happening. So what is Facebook doing? There is a long literature. Of course, there are different levels of understanding here. Myself, I don't have the answer to all the questions, but from my point of view, the most interesting thing on Bitcoin and crypto is the economic side of it. When I read the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, for me the most interesting thing wasn't the statistical tools, because I didn't understand it at the first time I read it, but to have a tool that is to have a currency that doesn't have inflation or have a control and expected inflation for the next 140 years. There is no other single thing that tells you I'm going to issue 21 million coins and that's it. And if the tool remains alive and if people believe that this tool has value, then you have a store of value. Then you have something that is decentralized. Then you don't have a president that can't tell anything about this currency. Then you don't have a central bank or a federal or the Fed talking about what is going to do with it. Then you don't have a guy with a printing machine in the central bank telling, if you need money, government, just issue some debt and I give you money. Of course, when you are in Venezuela, you understand these things quite easy, because if you don't understand that today, the next day you will have the same situation, and the day after you will have the same situation, because inflation is 10, 20, 30% a day. So when you're in a company and you say, I have prices from 9 to 12, and if I don't receive the money at 12, you have a change in your prices. And my provider is telling me the same thing. And I have a price in bolivars, and I have a price in cash, and I have a price for transfer, I have a price for bitcoins, and I have a price for Colombian pesos. So you understand the economic side of this very easily. If you have inflation of 2% a year, that's nothing. You don't feel the hit until inflation arrives. Then you get the point. Of course, there is in Facebook a lot of positive things, a lot of negative things, but the reason behind, I don't know it. I will not figure out what is El Oxidado, the oxide guy, Zuckerberg, thinking about what he wants to do with the world, but he's creating a currency. It's just that. So if you go to the Libra website, you will find a lot of information, huge amount of data that was not talked about during the sessions, because it took me the weekend to read the things that were related to Libra on the website. You don't have a white paper. You have a complete set of works, and you are just in the beginning. This is nothing just made by chance. This is something made with a good team of lawyers, with a good team of economists, with a good team of software developers. It's not a boring tool that they copy-pasted on GitHub. No, this is something pretty well done. You cannot say that these guys are not doing his job as they have to, in terms of technicality. In terms of what they want to do with it, that's other thing. Things that you have to figure out. This is, by now I think you understand what is a public blockchain and a private blockchain. Okay. Libra is something created by a corporation. So is this a centralized or a decentralized tool? If tomorrow the US Senate say, I want to talk to Satoshi Nakamoto, and besides Mr. Craig, we don't talk about that, but besides Mr. Craig, where are they going to send the email? With whom are they going to talk? Which is the LLC they are going to sue? Which is the corporation they are going to sue? Nobody. They cannot sue anyone. They cannot talk to anyone. But we can talk to Facebook and the other 25 partners or the 100 partners they are going to do in the federation. It doesn't sound like the federation is doing JP Morgan. It doesn't sound like the federation on Corda and the other projects or Ripple. They are choosing their partners, or they are having a partner. You want to be a partner in Libra project? It's open. You just need to have $1 billion in assets, put $10 million for your seat, and then we will think about if you can get in or not in our club. Okay, so how many of you are available for going to Libra? Okay, so we are not part of this open system, no? Okay, if you want to be part of the system of Bitcoin, you can run a node, you can buy a miner, and that's it. Okay, so for the rest of the things, we have a very interesting tool related to technicality, and what they want to develop is a low volatile currency. The only thing is governance have what they developers call a single point of failure. It's not decentralized, and they have a reserve. So in terms of economics, it's really an interesting thing. As I said, about the blockchain and about the technical part is something I cannot tell you too much, because it's something that is in preparation. They have a new language created by that, so it's not something they just copy paste, but they have a currency that is backed by a reserve of assets. So it's like the petro, or it's like the Iran tool, or it's like a gold bullion. It's something that is backed by an asset. This asset should have been custodied by someone else. So they say, okay, these have an intrinsic value. The intrinsic value is the value of the dollar. So Eryka asked about what is backing the US dollar. Okay. So the IMF did something similar when Bretton Woods system ends up, when the gold system ends up, and they created a basket that today is based on dollars, in euros, yens, yuans, and pounds. If tomorrow someone tells me that I'm going to buy a stable coin, it's because I have to pay in dollars to my provider, so I want to have a collateral against the dollar. But if I am a US citizen and someone tells me, don't worry, Facebook is going to create a basket with dollars, euros, yen, yuan, and pounds. So you want to have a exposure to these assets? Probably I will not be doing that. For that, I buy a fund, a currency hedge fund, to say something, because I'm going to bet on other assets. So that has no movement is not that true, no? And as I said, it's governed by the Independent Libra Association. The Independent Libra Association by now is 24 companies from this little Facebook here. Okay. We are not alone, and they put this look like a Star Wars Federation, Darth Vader thing. But and the funny thing here is, I don't know which is the Libra symbol with these 3 lines, but what I do know is the Libra is a horoscope or zodiac symbol, and the brothers, the Winklevoss brothers, they call Gemini because they are twins to his exchange in New York. So I really yes, the guys are go for the money. They don't care how much they hit each other. So yeah, exactly. So finally, for me, as I said, Libra has a monetary policy because there is someone deciding which asset-backed assets are behind them. There is a reserve, and they are asking these questions, they are answering these questions, and they are all on the website. So it's quite an interesting lecture to do, but of course this is a science fiction. Everything here is science fiction. The project is not going tomorrow. You will not be able to buy Libra tomorrow. There will not be an exchange doing so by now. And what I can tell you is that it's a really exciting thing. If you saw Game of Thrones and you get sad about the last episodes, I think the Libra future is way more interesting than the last season of that. And with that, I will summarize the things about what was my feeling on financial institutions and crypto markets. The market sells or pulls when trading in 2007 was set by the forks, by the appearance of Bitcoin Cash, and so on. The regulators take the first step in 2018. We feel the heat of this crypto winter, and in 2019, this is the year for the regulators and the tech fin. We are going to see more on Facebook, but probably we will hear something about Amazon or other big companies. The financial institutions are finally offering services, not only under their private blockchains, but surely they will have to let people buy crypto assets, because if they don't do, other people will. And they have the recognition on that. The first one is Fidelity. If we are going to talk about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum, I would say that the core structures, the core developers, the development is an endless development, because these tools are not going to be the same within 10 years, of course, and I think they are still in early stages. It's a 10-year-old kid, Bitcoin. So for maturity is long. Financial institutions until now were developing related blockchain projects, but now it's about Facebook, it's war with fintech, and on the sidelines laughing about this situation is Bitcoin. The crypto institutions, the exchanges, and the new financial groups are changing the strategies. They are getting together, they are forming groups to define these big partnerships to try to create volume, because they are still very small compared to the traditional financial institutions. And the market for crypto assets are still in retail. as I said to you, my feeling on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are more real than from Monday to Friday. And it's very difficult to forecast that the 20,000 next year will be without the presence of the big traditional banks playing on the market. And well, that's all. Thank you very much for listening to me.
What does your fund do exactly? What does your fund do? To invest in crypto assets. I'm not allowed to do. You can contact me, but I'm not allowed to do any talks about what I do. But it's a crypto hedge fund. Is it privately traded or is it public or what is the? No, it's privately traded.
Your fund? Oh. Libra, I mean, Libra at this point is just a white paper. Like, it's just a white paper, but it's gotten so much traction that Congress is talking about it.
Well, the government's doing all their marketing.
And the government is doing the marketing for Bitcoin.
It's a strategy. But actually, like Ripple and XRP is the product of Ripple. Calibra is actually the company, and Libra is a product.
Well, Calibra's
Not
the
exactly.
wallet.
The
So
Libra
yeah.
Libra is the digital currency.
Right.
I would not say that Libra is a cryptocurrency.
No.
It's a digital currency. Calibra is the wallet that will support Libra from Facebook, because what Facebook is saying is, I'm not going to have the whole ecosystem. I'm just setting up the crypto asset, the digital currency. I'm going to support the software of one wallet for having yourself a wallet or a kind of crypto bank account, but the rest of the people is open to set up their own wallet. So tomorrow we copy paste a wallet that is supported with this new language, and then we can sell our wallet if we are more trusted than
And the
Facebook.
reality is that, let's say it's already active today. If you put $500 in there, it's not like you're gonna have $501 tomorrow, because it's supposed to be a stable coin, which for those who don't know means it just stays at the
It's
dollar.
a tether.
But
Under passive assets.
Yeah.
exactly. So if it's yen or euro, it's
No, it's
at there.
SDR, so it's all of them combined. SDR, like special drawing rights, is already kind of its own currency. But the thing about Calibra is the wallet. What's interesting about Calibra is that it can hold Bitcoin, it can hold stocks, it can hold bonds. That's what it's built for. I mean, that's what they say that it's going to be built for. So it's really, really interesting times that we live in, and you guys are still just at the beginning. So any more questions, guys?
Why do you think Facebook made Libra?
Why?
Well, they have 1.3
Well,
billion users that
you have 2 billion clients.
The money on Libra is if you have 10 million get in, you're making a killing on a float, number one.
I'm curious in your opinion.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, from my point of view, when you talk about a hedge fund, you're talking about an old-fashioned thing. I'm doing a hedge fund, and that's the explanation to some people. I'm putting a Ferrari in a container, and then I have a truck, and then I move the Bitcoin inside the truck at 40 kilometers per hour. But this is the only way you can get an access at this moment to that. It's like the 30% over premium you're paying. But what they are doing is, we understand that the financial system with fax is dead. It is not going to work like that anymore. It is not going to work like that. Custodianship, you can do it at home. So I will help you out with the custodianship, because it will do way cheaper than with all these financial institutions. So the financial institutions now, Andreas Antonopoulos was saying a couple of weeks ago that he had this same presentation I did in Mexico with the banks, and when the bank says, what do? We hire a blockchain consultant like you, and they said, no, go to the music record guys and tell them what happened when Apple arrived and take over on your business. That's the point. So Facebook is taking over the music of the banks, and the banks are going to be left out without music if they don't move forward. They can $35 or figuring out we have to lay off 20,000 people that are just filling papers, unfortunately, and we need to buy more computers, we need to buy space in Amazon servers, whatever, and move forward, because that's life.
And what the reality is too is that the amount of fees that banks had to pay in 2018 is actually more than the entire market cap, all of the cryptocurrencies combined, right? So these banks, when they do transactions, the biggest money launderers are banks, right? And they literally are, with the US dollar. So there's a lot of room for this to grow, for one. And then for two, with Libra being created, it's just like, there's an opportunity there. He's right when he says that the same way that technology came after the music industry and completely changed the way that music people make their money, that's what's happening to the banks right now. Technology is advancing. So you have the head of the BIS, which is like the central bank of all central banks, the Bank of International Settlements, and they come out with a statement after Libra posts their white paper, and their statement says that the government needs to come in and regulate to make sure that these big tech companies don't overrule them, because they're afraid, right, of the technology. But beforehand, you have this man, the head of the BIS saying, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam, right? And then something comes out that kind of scares them, and now here they are saying the government needs to step in and make sure that us as banks are protected. So what he's saying too, in terms of custodianship, is that right now, when you have your money in the bank, you're FDIC insured up to $250,000, right? So when you have your cryptocurrency, like for example, my Bitcoin, it's not insured. If I lose my Bitcoin, that's on me. So you have this sense of personal responsibility that you haven't had to have before, right? And now, when you have companies like Libra come in and they take that off of you and they say, we'll insure you and we'll take care of it, some people like that level of comfort, whereas Bitcoin won't provide you that unless you know the ways for it to provide you that. So, yeah.
I just wanted to add to your question. To answer in layman terms, I could say that Facebook just wants to provide people that don't have access to maybe banks or getting banking loans, that they could access that in their phone and get.
So it's a business model.
Exactly. But one thing I think is important to mention is that I guess the bad part about this is that he didn't really touch on the money supply, because if all these corporations really get a handle of this, they could really control money supply and the economic policies.
And that's why governments are pushing back or.
Exactly.
Because they control the monetary policy
They don't
right
want anyone
now.
else to do that.
They don't want companies to. Which is why we love Bitcoin. Because
Right.
guess who controls the monetary policy?
Right.
Nobody. Software code automatically executes so people cannot manipulate. Go ahead.
So I want to ask you your perspective on kind of a two-part question that is kind of related. So you were talking about how the financial institutions are building the infrastructure so that they can invest in this new asset class from a more regulated perspective. Where do you think the investment is going to go to first? And then it's kind of related. You essentially are taking money from rich people to get access to this asset class. How do rich people see this as part of their investment portfolio?
Well, the first question was, where do I see these investments going to? Or how
From the
rich-
institutions, from
where the
the
institutions are moving
institutional
to,
players.
how rich people see these things. To go defensive. If I run my business, of course I don't want someone else to do a part of it. So they are playing defensive on this side, but there are these Fidelity is the outcast in Wall Street. He says, I don't care what you are doing. I'm not going to, I have these little guys from MIT and they told me that this is the future, this is like this is like that. We're going to move forward with this and we will make our private blockchains. What we cannot say is open software is here to stay. Developers are doing their business not under Microsoft but by themselves, and new tools, new bitcoins are coming. So if you are not prepared for that, you are dead. So while it's defensive in the size of JP Morgan, probably it's not that defensive, but they are playing that private blockchains, and they are not investing. The amount of money that you see from financial institutions invested on Bitcoin is from hedge funds, from other companies, smaller financial institutions that are not traditional institutions, boutique banks, Metropolitan Bank in New York, very little banks in California that are new. There are institutions that are less than 20 years, and they are invested in technology. They understand that this is a technology tool, and so that's more or less their view.
Cool. Go ahead. Sure.
Question. So if you're around these financial institutions, you're just mentioning having managed trillions of dollars. From when I was paying attention before, when I used to analyze stocks and other assets, the majority of assets was in the bond markets, the majority of funds. And so lately I've seen the rates go much, much lower and lower, and in many, many countries they're even in negative territory. Like, why would someone own a bond in negative territory? So do you think that this is creating this atmosphere for people to create their stable coins and Libras and anything else to take that money out of the bonds to something else that they can control that asset?
That is a different situation. 2 weeks ago, past Friday, you can check on the U.S. Senate. Jerome Powell was giving the speech every 6 months. You have the opportunity to listen about the monetary policy, not regarding what the president says, but regarding what the Fed is going to do. And this is the main concern in the U.S. Not what is happening in the U.S. That is, interest rates are going down, but 80% of Europe is in negative trends, in negative rates for 10-year bonds. But in Japan, they have spent the last 20 years with a deflationary situation.
Right.
So they are doing perfect everything, but they cannot grow anymore. So that's the reason why they have a earthquake and a tsunami, and after 1 year and a half, they have done everything because they need to invest, they need to grow. So sometimes there is a limit for this growth, for the model. So what is the easiest way when you have this situation to keep growing? More credit, printing more money. When you print too much money, what is the other resource? Lowering your rates. Go and buy another house. You didn't learn the last time in 2007. Go ahead and do the same thing. And buy another car. And buy another thing. You don't need it, doesn't matter. We give you the credit. And then we will back that. Why? With what? Printing more money. And we bail out the banks, we will bail out the people. I don't know what are you going to bail out, but this is the situation now. So this is not solved with a basket of currencies, because now the competition is which country is going to lower the value, which country is going to devalue its own currency.
They call it a race of debates.
Yeah. The funniest thing I ever listened to when I was in Venezuela was the president of the Swiss banks, because they are in the other side of the trade. The Swiss franc is going on
Yes,
on value. So the guy who makes the Rolex says, I cannot export Rolex anymore because it's too expensive. And the guy goes, we're going to buy dollars and euros, and we're going to print as much francs as needed to lower the value of our Swiss bank.
welcome you all. And if you're more curious to know about the office prices, the hot and cold desk prices, please reach out to me, and I will give you a form. Okay? Thank you.
Cool, guys. So if we're really trying to we love Miami. We're really trying to revamp Flagler Street. So in about 20 minutes, we'll let you hang out here for a little bit. But we're going to go over to Lost Boy. If you guys don't know what Lost Boy is, they have a special space reserved just for us. And it's food, drinks, everything. And then also, too, if you guys are interested in getting space here, please sign up for the waiting list. When the summer's over, the first people that sign up are going to be the first that have access. So contact Maria or me. And thanks for coming!
I was born in Venezuela, actually, but I have a Japanese association. Hiro, H-I-R-O. Not Euro. So, what's your minimum investment amount for the fund? Okay. I can't ask you details now, you said, right? I can't ask you details now on what it does and what you invested in.
Not now, because I need to see what if you're not going to invest.
Okay.
And later on,
how do you verify? Verify investment upfront?
normally you ask your bank to send
Yeah. I've done it before. I got my accountant to do that. Okay. Are you heavily more into mining, or are you invested in small startups?
No.
Or do you trade? Okay.
Actually, this guy has a mining shop here.
I'm good. Oh, okay. When I looked at it, it's not profitable. That's why I didn't do it. Yeah. A lot of pop.
You need to hold for the long term. So it's way easier to buy on the
Right.
Or you could go to cold countries to set up a mining facility too. Huh?
What?
You could go to the cold countries to set up the mining facility, and it's cheaper.
Eating is also a problem. So
there is everything. I mean, it's about the price. It's about the price of it.
Yeah.
So you can do BitMEX no problem. Huh? You can sign up for BitMEX no problem, right? Because this is not a US number.
No, but about well, you have a US number, you have your SIM card.
Oh, okay. So where's the
I have a US number, but
Okay.
I can't give it to you. But
I think I might sign on Telegram. That's fine as well. You check off it.
yes, I am on the Telegram.
Okay.
You can
Oh, the
send
thing.
me a message and no problem.
I haven't joined yet.
Yeah. So what do you trade? BitMEX?
No, I have other trading. There are like other levels. The counter against other funds. So you can have liquidity. You need to know what's the final. Excuse me. I got that.
Hey you guys, so thanks for tuning in and seeing this entire virtual reality experience at the Blockchain Bitcoin Center. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Bitcoin 101 at the Blockchain Center in Miami. I'm the host here, Jerome. Everybody's walking by. Live. It's okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Jerome from Bits and Tokens. I'm going to continue the live stream. You guys are more than welcome to tune in. If you have questions, ask down below. If you're watching from VR, thanks so much for checking out. We're here at the Bitcoin Center in Miami, blockchain. Everybody keeps walking in front of the camera. I'm so sorry about that. Just one more second. Excuse me? There's a live stream.
So that's why you have Scott.
Let me finish this video. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go. 2 seconds. Take a seat.
I'm going to take off.
Oh, here. Let me talk. Let me tell you. So what we're doing is virtual reality event. So we're proposing is more so a media company, an asset media company, corporation, what are other media community? Virtual reality is a part of media, right? You know, what TV is eventually going to take on video. They want to put the virtual thing. So I've been doing everything that I can do. Virtual reality is a platform. So instead of creating an entire world from scratch, I can go into the other applications that I already have, build an application, build virtual events. My job now is to host those events as well as we can do what's called media in, so we can have live streams. So we can have a live stream in the virtual reality event. Somebody else that was here was telling me that we can be able to get next to the center so that way whoever's speaking, as they're speaking there, you will show up in the virtual reality. Actual person, everything can be in virtual reality. Jerome. So yes, you can email us, but if you change contact, it's Jerome, whatever you see. That's how you email me directly. Nothing about virtual reality on this website yet. Fantastic. Benjamin? Right, virtual reality. I'm gonna take 2 more seconds to wrap up. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was saying about the picture. How do I get it again?
Just email us or text message us through that number.
Okay, so wait, just email, send my email in?
Yeah, just email or text message on that chat.
I thought sending my email with your next one, just like...
Email or text message to either the email address or the phone number, and somebody will respond with the information. Just let us know that you're the guy with the photos, and we'll just send you all of them, a link.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, in front of the camera, excuse me. Thank you. All right, to wrap up finally, sorry. To wrap up finally. Guys, I'm Jerome from the here live at the Bitcoin Center, Bitcoin 101. Just being able to be at events and be able to have people show up and see what it's like in the crypto space. I want to be able to do that more, not just in physical reality, but also in virtual reality. So if you're interested, check out Blockchain Universe. That's Universe, UNIVRSE. We're on blockchainuniverse.com, as well as Blockchain Universe on Altspace, VRChat, and several other platforms that are coming out in the near future. If you want to be able to experience the events, be at the events, check us out. You have a wonderful day. I'm gonna keep the live stream on, so if you have any questions, drop it in the chat below and I'll be able to answer those questions for you.
most interesting virtual reality experience?
Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
This was going to be the original, but the one they're coming out with is a darker build and a little bit smaller. And within, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks, the first machine will be in Florida. Okay. They're distributing 1,000 of them, 500. So this is how they well, that's one of them. They actually have the regular cards. They also deal digitally. So you back on it. I want to get this card. Yeah.
Excuse me. I did have another question. Can I have your card? I assume you're here in Miami right now, right?
I'll take one also.
Yeah. I had a lot of hard questions.
Let me grab some wine and we keep on talking. Thank you. Yeah, you about ready? Whenever you're ready, we get out of here. So yeah, Dubai, Cape Town, go back to Vegas. Like we had a private showing with about 4,000 people in Vegas. Oh wow! They had. for one drink and you walk.
Guys, thank you so much for coming. We went to the bar across the street now.
All right.
Nice.
All
I want to try this out, but not right now. But I will check it out. I promise.
Anytime, let me know.
But so give me so we're I'm part of a financial planning association and we do events like regular. So I think it would be cool to have this set up.
I can be able to create whatever world you want me to create. I'll host the events for you and I'll be able to help people.
If it's like for half a day or
anything. I have an event on August 17th all day, 24 hours.
So you live streaming like virtual reality?
So the event on August 17th won't be live streamed.
Okay.
That one's just going to be all digital. So it's me and a bunch of people that are from different crypto games are all going to be in the virtual world all day long for regular people to just come in and learn about all the different games. It's a conference. It's going to be the first VR conference.
All right.
So that'll be on August 17th. Yeah, for any event you want me to be able to do.
I'll write to you and then.
Yep, just send an email. So you have contacts at Bits and Tokens. You can email that one, or if you change contact to Jerome, Jerom as in Mary E, that'll send it to me directly. Hope to work with you soon. Here, you want me to get your number? I would love to stay in contact. I'll send you a text message or something.
Yeah. Sure. You want me my number?
Yes, please.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is it possible to watch what you did here today?
Yes.
Actually, 803. Your number, 984-3930.
I'll send you the link right now.
Got it. I'll write back to you with my name. So you have
Fantastic. Got it, Jorge. All right, so you want the
I want to see what you did with
live
the
stream here. I'll just send you the text message of everything I did for the live stream. What's your phone number?
Hold on. I just got this, so I don't know it yet.
So I try now to tell some of our clients that we should put up
786-716-1698.
Well, there's still.
So I sent the first one was the live stream.
Okay.
That'll take it to our YouTube channel, which, like I said, this just ended.
Okay.
So if you just go to my channel, Bits and Tokens, on Bits and Tokens, you'll see the stream there.
Let me see. This? And here?
Click on the first link.
And the
first one.
Okay.
And then once I'm done ending it, you'll see it changes. You see, like right now, it's just showing you the empty room.
Yes.
But if you click on Bits and Tokens, actually, I want you to subscribe so you can watch us anytime.
Okay, thank you.
And then if you go to your videos, so right now it's live. After it's live, it's going to show up right here. And you'll see the next one in the line. I'll most likely change the name to Bitcoin 101, and you'll see it there anytime.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Okay.